All right, let's take a look at Midjourney now. Midjourney is got to be one of the most extreme tools, I think, in the image generation world. But obviously, they're the ones that everyone sort of loves the models from. So for Midjourney, first off, you have to immediately pay. There's no free trial. There's no way to demo it. If you do want to sort of make sure you're getting your money's worth out of it, or like that it's worth it, you can just Google Midjourney images and you can kind of see what a Midjourney image looks like. You can look at version 6, it's probably the latest version, although as we'll see in this video, you can actually access other versions. So in order to create an account, you'll need to go to midjourney.com. You'll go to sign in. And I believe, interesting, it just immediately kicks you over to the Discord authorization. So the Midjourney plans are not the cheapest in the world, I'll be honest. There's a basic plan, which is what I currently pay for. It's $8 a month. Pretty good access. I haven't really found any issues. There is a $24 a month plan. There's a $48 a month plan. There's a $96 a month plan. I would imagine most of us do not need the $96 a month plan unless you're really cranking out images. So I would imagine the 8-month or 24-month plan is fine for most people. You'll want to go ahead and subscribe. You have to do all of this before you can even access the Discord tool. Yeah, so you go ahead and fill out all the subscription stuff. You'll set everything up on Discord. You do actually need a Discord account as well. So you need to go to Discord and create all that. As we will see, Midjourney, as of today, works only through Discord, which is why a lot of people don't like it, including me. I actually do not like Discord, and I find it kind of annoying, but I've learned to live with it for Midjourney especially. So we'll jump over to Discord now, and we'll take a look at how to use the tool. All right, so here we are in Midjourney. Once you open it in Discord, you'll look for the little sailboat icon. That is Midjourney. Sorry, you'll see the thousands of other notifications I have. You'll see I don't check Discord very often. So when you first come to the Midjourney application, you may be like, do I have to work in public? There are a newbie room. There's a bunch of other rooms where you can sort of check stuff out. There's general image generation room, all this sort of stuff. And you might be thinking, wow, I have to work publicly in front of all these people. And the reality is you do not. The one reason I would say you might want to is it is sort of helpful to see what other people are making, right? So you can go in here and sort of see all the different prompts people are sticking in here, and start to sort of learn the syntax. There is a documentation page which we'll look at in just a minute. But beyond that, you're kind of on your own. You're just going to stick stuff in there and learn that way. You can also go into one of the general channels and sort of see what other people are making. So again, you may be able to get inspired or find some interesting prompt styles, that sort of thing here. I do not use this version. I do not access this through the public Midjourney. And in fact, I would recommend that, after a while of looking around, you probably don't do it either. It's also just so chaotic. There's like millions of messages every minute that I cannot keep track of. Looks like there were 53 new messages since 10:35. This is 5 minutes ago. So it's chaotic. It's not how I work. How I work is I go into my direct messages, and you can direct message the Midjourney bot. And that's how I work. It's just my space. No one else sees it. It keeps me a lot more sane. And now I'll talk a little bit how to actually use it. So again, Midjourney, as of today, only runs through Discord. They do have a web version that I hear is coming, but as of right now, it only works through Discord. Why does it only work through Discord? Probably a long legacy issue. Midjourney is actually a pretty small company compared to a lot of the other generative AI companies. They mostly focus on building models, and when you only focus on building models, you don't have time then to build websites and fancy UI tools. And they decided to basically build mostly through Discord. And I've also heard Discord may or may not pay some of their bills. So in that regard, it kind of makes sense. So using Discord, you can really only use sort of a text feature. And that makes it a little bit challenging, but also makes it kind of interesting. And there's some nice tools they built that allow you to do certain things. So let's just start with a really, really basic example here. So I'm actually going to take this prompt that I've been using, a beautiful painting of a dog riding a dolphin, and we're going to put it into Midjourney. So you'll DM the bot either through one of the other channels or through your DMs here. You're going to type in /imagine. Now, /imagine just brings up a prompt. So you'll type /imagine, then hit space, and it'll say what prompt you want to use. And you'll paste in your prompt, and you'll hit return. This is going to queue up their Midjourney system behind the scenes, and it will generate an image based on your prompt. And you'll see here that I still have fast credits left. I have no idea how many credits I have, when they refill. If this is a common experience, like every single one of these platforms does a terrible job of telling you what credits you use, probably because they don't want you to know, to be honest. And you'll see here very quickly, you'll see the percentage changes over time. If you remember that video of where I talked about the step system, Midjourney is still one of the few tools that still allows you to see your steps as it generates. It's quite fast though, so you might blink and miss it. But you'll see here I've got a couple different images now. Which of these images do I like the most? I kind of like this last one the most. So down here you'll see there is U1, U2, U3, U4, V1, V2, V3, V4. This stands for upscale image 1, and I believe it goes in this order, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's upscale, which means just make a higher resolution version of that image. V stands for variations, meaning give me variations based on this image. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and hit V4 because I like V4 and I want to see more of this. And now you're asked to provide a new prompt if you want to. I'm actually going to provide the exact same prompt, and that will just hopefully generate more images like that sort of have that similar vibe. And now it's going to make variations. How do I know this? I've been using Midjourney for a while. Midjourney uses a lot of very terse language, and I think one of the reasons that people are so obsessive about Midjourney is because once you learn it, you kind of feel like you've unlocked the code. But I do think it's really hard for people to start with Midjourney. But people see the outputs from the model, and everyone wants to learn how to use it. So I think in that regard, people are kind of like, the higher barrier to entry is to get access to what people find that these models really are good at or are good for. And you'll see here now I've got a bunch of images. Okay, so now I've got a bunch of images. What else can I do? Let's take image 4 again, and let's this time upscale it. So we're hit U4. And now I've got a bunch of new options here, which is upscale, upscale creative, vary, subtle, very strong, vary by region, zoom out 2x, zoom out 1.5, custom zoom, left, right, up, down, heart, and web. Again, I don't know how anyone would learn what this means without going and watching a YouTube tutorial or that sort of thing. Upscale is obviously just going to make you a higher resolution version. You've got the subtle version or the creative version. We don't really talk about upscaling in this material, but upscaling will always change your image slightly. So you have the option of changing it very slightly or changing it a lot. I often find that upscale subtle tends to keep the best of the image and you won't lose much. Variation, these will give you new variations. We'll look at vary region in just a minute. This allows you to do what's called in-painting. And then you've got zoom out 2x, zoom out 1x, and custom zoom. You likely saw maybe a year ago when they first introduced this tool, people were doing these like crazy zoom outs where it was like endlessly zooming and creating kind of funky little images. You've got left, right, up, down. That will pan your image left or right or up or down. And then you can fill in the gap or the space that's left there. Then you've got a way to favorite this and a way to see it on the web. And again, the web will only pull up the image for you and allow you to sort of like bookmark it. It gives you their very minimal web interface as of right now. So let's just go ahead and hit upscale subtle, and then I think we'll kind of stop at this point and look at some other tools within Midjourney that allow us to do this. So let's go ahead and hit upscale subtle. And while I do this, you can kind of run some stuff concurrently here. Again, I think that the more you pay them per month, the more concurrency you're given. Let's take a look at what is called the describe feature. So in this case, we're going to go /describe. And this will actually help you write a prompt based on the image you provided. So let's go ahead and hit describe. And now we want to upload an image here. So let's go ahead and drag my Lisa Frank image in. So this one, let's go ahead and drop this in here. There we go. Okay. You got to click image and then you got to upload it this way. And then you can hit return. So what does describe do? So describe basically like kind of inverts the way this model works and gives you an image based on that, gives you prompts based on the image you've uploaded, and then allows you to, again, use that /imagine tool on that exact image. So you'll see here I've got, in the first one, it's with pink dolphins in a heart shape surrounded by bubbles in the style of Lisa Frank. Emotive Watercolors, Steve Sack, Cute Cartoonish Designs, Chromatic Purity, Carl Rungius, Dye Transfer. Number 2 is Heart Dolphins Design for Greeting Cards in the style of Lisa Frank, Romanticized Nostalgia, Carolyn Blish, Saturated Pigments, Doug Hyde, Playful Color Schemes, Sparkle Core. If you want to sort of guess or learn what is considered a part of the Midjourney model or a part of their text modeling, this is a great way to sort of like figure out what's in their model. So clearly the model knows about Lisa Frank. It knows about some of these other artists. Maybe you don't actually want to rip off other artists and you want to remove all these phrases. You can go ahead and do that by just sort of like pulling out those names. If you like one of these prompts, you can go ahead and just hit the number that corresponds to this and it will generate the image for you. Let's take a look at 3. There's no names in here, so I'm kind of interested how this works. So let's go ahead and press 3, and this will generate an image for us. And while that generates, we'll see here is our upscale image. So we got a slightly nicer upscale image out of this. Again, once you sort of get in the habit of using Midjourney, it does get easier and you start to learn how it works or learns how it works. And I do think stuff like the describe feature or the shorten feature, which we may look at it in just a second, are really interesting to me and I think point toward a much easier user experience if they were a little bit clearer to people. I actually don't think they're very clear that people know they even exist until you start watching YouTube tutorials and people explain why you should do this. Or, they'll show, someone else will put it in a cheat sheet and then people will figure this out. So based on our image that we provided it, we're now given new images. And if you look at this, it's pretty interesting. It's definitely not Lisa Frank style because I didn't use that prompt. But I am getting some interesting stylistic changes and that sort of thing. So again, using the describe feature is a pretty cool way to access these tools and even learn a little bit about how the models work and then be able to apply that to your own images, or just take the description straight up and apply it to a new image. Okay, let's look at 2 more ways to generate images using Midjourney, and then we'll call it a day. I'll show you a little bit of documentation, but there's a lot that you could do within Midjourney, and I don't want to turn this into a complete Midjourney tutorial. I just want to sort of show you the user experience of this. So there is also a way to use image prompting. Again, this is not image initialization, this is image prompting. And the best way to do that is to actually make sure your image is at a URL that it can access. So in this case, I find it doesn't work as easily, or it's kind of hard to figure out like how to upload the image. So maybe like save it to your Google Drive or something so you already have access to it. In this case, I'm going to use that exact same image from Lisa Frank. I've got this image here. I'm going to go ahead and just copy the URL here. I'm going to go back to Midjourney and I'm going to type /imagine, hit space, and then I'm going to paste in that URL. And then I'm going to copy and paste my command again, my prompt, and I'm going to hit return. What this is going to do is you'll see it will ingest that URL. It will give it a new image URL, and then it will use this as an image prompt in addition to this prompt. Now remember, this does not do initialization, so it will not draw over top of your image. Instead, what it will do is it will take some of the characteristics of your image and apply those to the Midjourney model. So here you go. In this case, you'll see, if we look at the difference between my image here and my images over here, it kind of pulled up the color palette and it kind of figured out that playfulness kind of thing with it. We can click on this and zoom in a little bit, and now our dogs have funny hats on them. This is like a weird dog dolphin hybrid. I wonder if they're like a little family. And it kind of gives just that vibe, that characteristic, right? It got rainbows and some of those bright pastel-y colors. So it is clearly not based on that image. It is using some characteristics of it, but that's it. So this is image prompting. I believe you can use up to 3 images as a part of your image prompt. And you can also do some stuff with image weighting. I won't cover that in this video, but there is documentation on Midjourney's website about how to do that. Okay, last image example. Let's look at how to blend 2 images together. This is another newish Midjourney feature and requires no prompting, and it basically just feed it 2 images and you get out a 3rd image. So for this one, you actually want to type /blend, and then you will provide 2 images, and you'll see here we've got options to upload and drag and drop. So I'm going to save this image. What we're going to do this time is we're going to create a little gothic dog and a little Lisa Frank dog. So let's see if WebP even loads correctly into this. Let's upload this one, and then we'll go and grab our Lisa Frank image again, and we'll grab this one. And now we can go ahead and hit return. And this is going to sort of merge, again, aesthetically, stylistically, those two images together to produce a third image. Now, again, there's no prompting involved here, which is nice. But we also have less control over what the model finds as aesthetically interesting to it, and we'll kind of see what our result is. Already looking a little bit darker. Okay, there we go. These are some interesting goth dogs that I guess are in love, and I don't know, this is kind of funny. Again, interesting playing tools, right? Like if you want to think about remixing or just merging concepts together, there's a lot of value in sort of being able to do something like this so quickly. Now, again, we have to talk about sort of the ethics of using two artists' images to combine them. Maybe you would use your own images. Maybe you would use a photograph you took and then a style you took, a style tile or something you made, and combine those and see how they turn out together. There are ways to do this that are less ethically gray area, but for this demo, I think it's enough to at least start here. Now, I will say, once you've done this, you can also create variations, right? So let's say I really like V4, and I want to actually grab my prompt, and let's go V4, and let's paste in, I think you can paste this in. Let's see if this works. Let's go submit. As you'll notice, kind of one of the things I find maybe frustrating about Midjourney is that you've got slightly different slash commands, but it kind of feels like they should always be one tool or one thing, and then you might wonder, like, why are these buttons here, but you don't have other buttons to create stuff? And again, it's because they're kind of beholden to Discord. And the way Discord works is it wants a text, interaction with the bot. So again, there's some interesting value here, but these are some funny images. So here we go. Now we're getting sort of dogs that look more like the dogs that we produced before. Maybe a little bit more gothic, a little bit more grungy. We got some black waves. We got kind of this like star sun thing here. Again, some interesting concepts. And because, Midjourney owns all of its own sort of models and that sort of thing, it's also able to create some of these tools that work directly with the way its models want to work. And I think this is kind of a fascinating experience where people have learned these models work really, really well, or Midjourney models look aesthetically very, very pleasing. But the hurdles to learn it are kind of through these text interfaces. So I think it's really fascinating to see how Adobe Firefly has gone sort of the opposite direction. Easy to use, models aren't as nice, versus Midjourney, hard to use, but models, if you like realism or this kind of style, like, they're quite good. So after going through that really short Midjourney demo, you might be wondering, how the hell do people figure this out? And the reality is, Midjourney does document this stuff. There is a docs.midjourney.com page, and on it you will find most of the commands you would want to ask. You can see a strong list here of different things. Each one of these links out to some different detail about it. So for example, if you want to learn a little bit more about blend, you could click on the blend command, and there's more options here. And you can look at the describe options, and you can learn a little bit more here. Parameters is actually the biggest thing, is what people want. So parameters list. This lists all of the parameters you can use within, I believe, the /imagine tool. So there's a lot here we didn't cover. If you're wondering how I made the images for the how do diffusion models work, I actually used the stop command, which allows you to stop at certain steps within your creation. Most places don't offer that anymore, so I had to resort to Midjourney in order to generate those. So again, there's documentation. There's no real wizard. I think there might be some ways to ask certain questions within the Discord channel, but it's not like a wizard where it kind of walks you through these things. You kind of have to learn by playing. You have to learn by watching other people do stuff. So user interaction level or like just understanding playing with tools is a little bit harder with these tools, but you do have a really great model. And Midjourney does generate and update their models quite frequently. So there's a lot to be available to you. There's a lot more that you can play with, but it is a little bit of a higher like curve to learn compared to say something like Firefly.